You are listening to New Europe Institute Free Seas 14 Talks podcast.
Welcome in Institute of New Europe podcast. Our guest today is Alexandru Andronic from Romania, from Bucharest. Hello, Alexandru.
Hello, thank you for inviting me to the podcast.
Researcher at the Euro-Atlantic Resilience Center in Bucharest, working within the community of interest, the resilience of states in the NATO and UA neighborhood. And his areas of interest include security in Eastern Europe, information warfare, and transatlantic relations, and strategic competition between great powers. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So can we move to the questions?
Please do.
Okay. First, of course, our questions will be related to 3C's initiative, cooperation, and role of Romania in this initiative. So first, it will be related with ongoing war in Ukraine. Tell me, please, was the outbreak of the Russo-Ukrainian war an important factor impacting the attitude of Romania in terms of cooperation within the 3C's initiative?
Well, I would say both yes and no, in the sense that the Free Seas initiative was already very important for Romania, and this can be seen in strategic documents which were released prior to the outbreak of the war, to the illegal invasion. For example, our national security strategy, which was released in 2020, and it covers the 2020 to 2024 time frame, mentioned the Free Seas initiative as an important regional format where Romania should support increased cooperation, increased interconnection between the countries which make up this format, and it was mentioned in association with the Bucharest 9 format, with the Free Seas initiative being seen as the more economic leaning one, and the Bucharest 9 format being sort of the one closer to the political side of things. And also our defense white paper from 2021 again mentions the Free Seas initiative as a relevant format where Romania should seek to participate in order to increase regional security by increasing regional dialogue and connections and economic exchanges and all that. So it was important prior to the outbreak of the war, but it is true that the outbreak of the war added a sense of urgency to things that we were already doing. So we were involved in the initiative. We were really interested in seeing it succeed. But after the outbreak of the war, investment in projects which are either part or associated to projects of the initiative increased. And so in this regard, yes, there was an impact. It added, I would say that it added urgency to what we were already doing.
Okay, another question is related with resilience. And tell me, please, did Romanian society suffer from the effects of the Russian disinformation?
Well, I would say that if we look at figures from opinion polls, the situation is not bad. So, for example, support for NATO membership. If we compare polls from January 2022, so just before the outbreak of the war, to more recent ones, let's say in the summer or in the autumn of the current year, we would see mostly the same figures. Like the variation is within the margin of error for a poll. So we see support for NATO membership being somewhere around 76%. Support for EU membership being somewhere around 70%. It's quite constant, and it's also interesting to see that right after the invasion, actually people's opinion about NATO improved. So people who are already very overall very supportive of NATO and who felt confident that NATO can can defend its members. This was 77% of the population. Afterwards,
really high rate.
Afterwards, it slightly increased to 80% of people being confident that NATO could withstand Russian attacks. So to a certain extent, we can see that the Russian information operations haven't sort of been really able to make up for the image loss and for the at least partial undoing of the Red Army myth of this very strong army, very competent army, and the way it was seen before. They show that they're not that strong. Although I will stress that they are of course a threat, and we can see that also in the opinion polls, where a lot of people do admit that they have, at least at some points of the still unfolding war, been afraid of a potential invasion. So I would say that information operations, even though they haven't made sort of a major dent in support for Romania's membership in Euro-Atlantic institutions, they're not irrelevant, and what they have done is they have managed to, let's say, insert certain topics into the public debate. While again, many of them are marginal and we mustn't inflate the threat, we can't really underestimate it, because the very fact that certain things are being debated, that they take up time and space of the public debate, it shows that these operation informations waged by Russia do have effects, and that we must be careful. We must track them. It's I would say it's a daily battle, if you will, an unseen battle against this type of malign activities, and that's how they're not intended to work overnight. They're intended to work in time. So we must be vigilant.
Okay, perfect. So another question will be related with another fundamental aspect of security. So about energetic security. And tell me, please, is the 3Cs initiative an important platform of cooperation for Romania regarding its energy security?
I would say it is important in many ways for our energy strategy, because Romania is doing quite well in terms of energy security. We have our energy production is good for our internal demand, and actually we also export quite a lot of energy. We've been exporting gas recently. So, for example, there were moments in 2023 when we were exporting more than we were importing. So we were at one point exporting 20% of our gas production, while our imports, at least when it comes to gas, was something like 6% of our internal consumption. So where the 3Cs initiative does come into play is, as you said, in terms of resilience, it's always good to have more ways of bringing various types of energy into the country, even if, let's say, the internal production is all right. You never know what happens, and when you need to be able to bring energy, gas, fuel from another country. And it's also many of the projects of the 3Cs initiative would be essential pillars of our export capacity, because after all, we want to contribute to the energetic security of the entire region and of Europe overall in the process. And in that regard, the projects of the 3Cs initiative, the infrastructure related ones especially, are crucial, because we have to do something with that surplus energy, and we have to export it to our friends and allies, and those projects help that.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. So another question. Romania has invested in the road infrastructure, especially in building elements of the Romanian part of Via Carpathia. Is Romania planning to invest to build next highways or express roads, which would be a Romanian part of 3C's initiative infrastructure?
Yes. Now I will have a disclaimer in the sense that I do not work with the Ministry of Transportation in order to have the, let's say, daily figures in terms of what has been constructed and all that. But there are definitely projects ongoing. There's a lot of construction, a lot of development in terms of the infrastructure, and I would say that it's a certain fact that more parts of this infrastructure, including the ones associated with Via Carpathia, will continue to be built because they are included in long-term plans and essentially in plans which are synchronized with European directives and with European development goals. Which are assumed by Romania, and many of them are also financed from European instruments. So there is, in this regard, the stability of financing, even though, like any infrastructure project, they are subjected to the economic factors of the day. The synchronization with what the European Union overall intends to do in terms of road infrastructure is, I would say, a guarantee that more is going to be built and that the funds will be there. And the funds, they will come from multiple sources. There is the recovery and resilience facility, which contains a lot of money for projects. And I would say that there's also the current strategic and geopolitical context, which incentivizes the building of highways, the building of important national roads, and especially the ones which connect with the port of Constanța, and which lead to that part of the country, because we need to be the war in Ukraine has shown that we need to be able to transfer goods which are normally exported and which normally travel in one way. We need to be able to switch them to another form of transportation in times of need. And we have to also account for situations where parts of the transportation system are affected and other parts of the transportation system must sort of take that extra quantity of goods which used to flow via another transportation channel. So for all of those reasons, I can tell you that Romania will keep investing in highways, and especially in the ones associated with Via Carpathia, which is also part of the 10T network, the European project one.
Okay, another question is the multidimensional crisis impacted also Romanian society, and how do you assess the resilience of Romania in facing negatively impacting results of the Russo-Ukrainian war?
I would say that Romanian society has overall done well in this in this regard. Obviously, there have been challenges, especially at the outbreak of the war, when there was a significant flow of refugees transiting through Romania, and it did seriously test the
are you able to estimate how many refugees, Ukrainian refugees, is currently in Romania?
Currently, I would say above 100,000. Some would say above 100,000, others about 120,000. Many of them crossed the country on their way to other parts of Europe. So at once I heard there was this figure of something like 3 million people, I think, but who have transited the country. But I would say that the society has mobilized to help the government and the state, particularly at those moments when the government was gathering its capacities, its forces in order to manage the situation and help all these people. And civil society has played a significant role, especially in the beginning of this flow of refugees. People and NGOs went to the border. They offered help to the refugees. Many took refugees in their own homes until the government was able to find a place for them. And the government also moved pretty quickly to set up a scheme where it compensates property owners who make their properties available to refugees. So I would say that this is one situation where the state and the civil society, the people themselves, have come together and have worked together to help Ukrainian refugees. And
Okay, situation like in Poland, more or less. So,
yeah.
Especially if we talk about engagement of so-called normal people in helping of Ukrainian refugees. Okay. Okay, another question. The Three Seas initiative has a potential to be a regional platform of cooperation, creating deeper bonds of the UA with candidating countries such as Moldova or Ukraine. Is Romania interested in using the cooperation within the Three Seas initiative to dynamize the process of accession to UA of Moldova and Ukraine?
I would say that we view this this aspect in terms of complementarity. So obviously the main integration thrust for both countries will come via the EU mechanisms and the institutions themselves. But the Free Seas Initiative can be complementary to that, and especially in terms of infrastructure development, it can help make that integration easier for Ukraine and for Moldova. And Romania is a firm supporter of both countries in their desire to become EU members. So I would say that by promoting common projects with the Republic of Moldova and with Ukraine, within the Free Seas initiative as partner participants, I would say that Romania does aim to sort of complement what is already being done within the EU framework. And I would offer as an example our support. Both in the case of Ukraine acquiring a partner participant status, and also recently this year for the Republic of Moldova acquiring partner participant status in the Free Seas initiative. It is something that we have supported, and we are looking to have more and more projects where these two neighbors of Romania can participate, and it makes sense both in terms of helping them have an easier path in the technical aspects of integrating themselves into European systems regarding transport infrastructure and all that, the technical requirements for the integration in various fields. And it also makes sense from the point of view of the after all the founding let's say spirit of the Free Seas initiative, which was to have economically viable projects of integration in the region. And of course the region as a whole stands to gain from extending this integration to the Republic of Moldova and to Ukraine.
Okay. The railway infrastructure connecting Romania Black Sea ports with landlocked countries of the region and ports of two other seas should be on the list of priorities of the development of the Three Seas Initiative infrastructure. Will Romania invest in such railways?
The short answer is yes, because the railway infrastructure, and especially the one connecting us to the rest of the Free Seas Initiative region, the Rail to Sea project in particular of great importance to us, and there will be investment because just like with the road infrastructure. These are covered by longer term strategies, and again, these are also synchronized with European Union directives, programs, and development goals. And I would say that for the following 2 years, for 2024 and 2025, as far as I'm aware from the documents released by the Ministry of Transportation, there should be around 6 billion euros of overall expenditure on railway infrastructure on a national level. This includes all of the railways, not only the ones related to the Free Seas Initiative projects. And it also includes both the necessary repairs and new investment. But the repairs are only a small part of it. So most of it is going to go into actual infrastructure investment, which is to say either development, construction of new sectors, or especially modernization, bringing up to date electrification for certain segments which are not yet prepared for the electric powered trains. Mm-hmm. And I would say that a lot of this is related to the parts which help connect the port of Constanța and thus the Black Sea to the rest of of Central Europe. And again, the funds will also come from the Recovery and Resilience Facility of the European Union, from the Operational Transport Program 2021-2027. So again, there is stability in financing. These are objectives assumed by Romania at the European level, which again, obviously, again, still subject to the economic factors which impact this type of development. This is a guarantee that there will be investment in this regard. And I would say that as a practical example, just recently, Romania bought 37 new electric trains made in Poland, by the way, and they were bought from the funds that I was mentioning before, from the long-term programs assumed by Romania within the framework of European Union instruments. So in this regard, I would say that there's definitely more development, and I will make another point which relates both to road infrastructure and to the railway infrastructure that we're discussing now. Romania is also looking at the dual use capability of these projects. That is to say, their capacity of being used also in a military context if needed, in order to transport military material, hardware, personnel in times of need. And that's also a criteria that we're looking at, and which is accounted for in all of these projects. So again, the geopolitical context gives an extra push for this investment, and given this context I was mentioning, I'm certain that there will be this extra investment.
Thank you. Another question: with which countries of Three Seas Initiative Romania has the best experience in terms of cooperation?
My honest answer would be that with all of them, really, because the Free Seas Initiative in my view, it makes sense when it's looked at as an ecosystem where each country is a link that is necessary in order for the entire system to work and to really be efficient. So, for example, we develop a lot of common projects with our neighbors, and this obviously makes sense from an economic perspective and from a geographic perspective. But the countries which are further away geographically from Romania also matter, even if they're, let's say, not involved sort of directly in common projects, because many of the Free Seas Initiative projects are linked with each other. They don't exist in a void. So, for example, when let's say the Baltics increase their degree of infrastructure integration, this also helps the rest of the Free Seas Initiative members, because it facilitates the exchange of goods across that part of the region from the other member countries as well. And this is just one example. This is how it works with every single one of those countries. And I can't really think of any instance where Romania came up with a proposal for a project for something, and that project was blocked or obstructed by any of the Free Seas Initiative member countries. I can't really think of any such example. So I would say that taking this into account, we are really pleased with our cooperation with all of the members of the initiative and with the partner participants.
Okay, so another two questions will be related to recommendations. And first one, what is your recommendation for Romania in terms of future engagement in the 3SIS initiative?
I would say that we should maintain our current focus on concrete project objectives, on tangible improvement of infrastructure, on initiatives which bring added economic value to all of the Free Seas Initiative members, to the entire region. So I would say that what we're doing now with regards especially to the transport infrastructure, but not only that, is something that we should continue to build upon. And I would say that taking into account the pragmatic side of the Free Seas Initiative is essential, because ultimately, while, let's say, some of the geographical aspects might be different from country to country, what they all share is an interest to have solid economic growth in the region. It's not the only thing they share, of course. They share many things in common. There are many commonalities of history and of perception. But leaving the politics aside, I would say that the interest to see a stable, secure, and prosperous region for economic development is something that binds all of these countries with a common interest in the Free Seas Initiative project. And when we look at the economic logic of things, as I said, there will be no one who will object to a project that brings added value to everyone. And we should continue to focus on that and to follow this perspective.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And what is your recommendation in terms of resilience of countries of the 3SIS initiative?
I would say that it would be important to look at resilience in a systematic manner, and what I mean by that is even though not all of the countries which are part of the Free Seas Initiative, are NATO members, I will say that the resilience framework used by NATO with the 7 baseline requirements, which are assured continuity of government and critical government services, resilient energy supplies, ability to deal effectively with uncontrolled movement of people, resilient food and water resources, the ability to deal with mass casualties, resilient civil communication systems, and resilient civil transportation systems is a good way of looking at a nation's resilience, regardless of its belonging to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization or not. And in this regard, I think that the Free Seas Initiative projects contribute to improving the parameters across all of these 7 baseline requirements. And I think that if each country takes a look at these baseline requirements when designing its projects and its initiatives within the free seas format, everyone will stand to gain, and everyone's resilience will be enhanced through these projects.
Alexandru, great, thank you. On behalf of Institute of New Europe for our today's meeting for interview. So I hope that we will be cooperate in the framework of 3SIS initiative. Great, thank you, and we will stay in touch. Okay.
Thank you for having me on the podcast. It was my pleasure.